Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the chance to participate in the debate. Mr. Speaker, I must congratulate the so-known SCORE coordinating model team for the tremendous effort that has been put in at Semalajau, Bintulu, more specifically in developing the Samalaju Industrial Park, turning a piece of jungle land into an industrial complex of steel structures and factories building. What a contrast. The number of factory buildings all at one place soon will be unprecedented anywhere in Sarawak, if not in Malaysia. I'm just sure what Sarawakian can do. In a matter of 6 years, for all the works that was done there, the team must have been completely dedicated and committed to lay the groundwork for the vision of the Sarawak Corridor of Renewable Energy SCORE, which aims to make Sarawak to become a developed and industrialized state by 2030. Roads were built, a new port, electricity, water, telecommunications, and other amenities had all been put in place by the team. Today, on a plot of land of 8,000 hectares of the Samalaju Industrial Park, a total of 25 projects have been approved with a total investment of 37.4 billion. Several more are waiting to be approved. So far, 2 plants have started operating and a few others are under construction this very day. And Mr. Speaker, it's just that the industrial park is really mind-boggling. Mind-boggling because when if all the plants are being built, all 25 of them or more, how will the environment at Semalajau be like? One wonder. The impact on the environment by the total emission from all the plants, whether it's in the air or into the sea or on the land, and the effect it poise on the surrounding environment, the ecosystem, and even the lives of the people living nearby. Worse still are those pollutants which you can't see or feel, yet moving silently, harming the people and the environment without our knowing. Let me say this. The magnitude of total pollution brought about by all the plants when completed would be unprecedented in Malaysia also. It will not be anything that West Malaysia had ever seen before, not even Linus. It is therefore of utmost importance that we must have an effective environment management system, managing the environment in a comprehensive, systematic, planned and documented manner, and also environment accounting, which measures the cost of the company's impact on environment. These must be in place, including that of the integrated waste management facilities at Muscat, which is placed between Pandang and Labang, Bintulu. So, Mr. Speaker, what kind of an environment management do we have? What about the legislation apart from our Natural Resource Environment Board ordinance? The mechanism must be in place to ensure that our environment is not damaged and yet sustainable, and that the people working there, those in the townships and the nearby kampongs and longhouses, that their health will not be affected adversely and that the environment be protected. I'm reminded of some of the scattered small factories at the wood-based industries at the Kaminal Industrial Estate, KIE, in Bintulu. Now, it's situated south of the Bintulu town proper, and because of the emission overnight or early morning of some of these plants at the industrial estate, and with the wind blowing from the south, those doing their morning walk at the Bintulu promenade get this annoying smell from the industry located at the KIE. Such a refreshing walk along the seashore in the morning at the Bintulu promenade, yet the air is not so refreshing many a times. If one goes by the book, probably that emission is within the safety range of the environment requirement standards Yet, because of the industry, the Bintulu air is never the same anymore, and we have to safeguard our environment, whether it's big or small industries, so that it is safe, as if we ourselves are living in that environment. Mr. Speaker, another issue at the Samalaju Industrial Park is the power supply. Presently, the two plants operating there are using up about 820 megawatts of electricity, and with several other plants under construction. Those plants, when completed, very soon perhaps in a couple of years, I would say that all the electricity that is produced in Bakun Dam or Murun Dam and the Balingian power plant combined would merely be enough for their use. What about the needs of the other two-thirds of the other investors? Build more dams for them, or are there alternate energy resources for energy supply to Samalaju? What about coal or gas? Or whether smaller dams with coal or gas would be a better mix, or others? Mr. Speaker, we have so much gas reserve in Sarawak, 40 over trillion standard cubic feet. It cannot be just for the exclusive use of MLNG to make liquefied natural gas. It's not logical. We're here in Sarawak where the gas is extracted. We must be able to use it also. I understand presently MLNG is using 4,200 million standard cubic feet of raw gas every day to make liquefied natural gas, LNG, while we only use 80 million standard cubic feet per day to generate electricity at the SESCO Kidurong gas turbine. Mr. Speaker, that is just a mere 1.8% of the raw gas of what MLNG plant is using. Yes, only 1.8% of what MLNG plant is using every day. Now, that 1.8% which SESCO is using for its gas turbine produces 500 megawatts of electricity at Tanjung Kidurong. We double that figure. It's only 3.6, and we can generate 1,000 megawatts of electricity. And that is more than equal to building a Murun Dam, which only produced 944 megawatts. 1,000 megawatts is near equal to the Balai Dam, which will produce only 1,180 megawatts of electricity when built. And that is without flooding any land, destroy our ecosystem, or resettle anybody. And if Petronas cannot give just a few more percent of the gas for us to generate electricity to fully develop our score, then I said Petronas better go home. We can do LNG ourselves, the Sarawak LNG. Just a few more percent, Mr. Speaker, not even half. We're not even talking about half or 50%. So why build them? Use more gas. And that's just asking for a few more percentage of the gas. Or build more dam because someone is actually eyeing on the timber in the dam area? Or what? But those trees really belong to the natives. Or build more dams, such a road can be built in the name of accessibility. But again, such accessibility are more accessible to the cronies company to grab more lands for palm oil plantation on both sides of the road, which are often the Makai Manua of the natives. Or build more dams such that there are more lucrative contracts. Or build more dams that more supply lines and towers and posts can be built. Just look at the Bakun Dam's case, and let's learn from the Bakun Dam. Or perhaps the state Barisan National Government just do not have the muscle to get more gas from the Barisan National West Malaysia. Not even the 20% oil and gas royalty. If we can have the 20% oil and gas royalty, there is no need to build dam so that we can build the road to develop Sarawak. With that money, we can build the road. Equal partnership in Malaysia, Mr. Speaker, equal partners. So why do we have to build mega dams just that we supply electricity to the investor whose thirst for cheaper electricity for smelting has no end? Just such that we can become industrialized by 2030 in about 15 years? An industrialized state just having energy guzzling smelting factories churning out aluminum ingots, silicon manganese, metallic silicons, and other base metals, and then send back to their own countries again to make finished product and sell it back to us again and to the world? Mr. Speaker, like that is not going to make us an industrial estate. Their home countries are going to be industrialized. We don't. The foreign companies just want to get our cheap electricity, use our land, use our road, water, electricity supply, and other amenities. But what do we get? Pollution. Mr. Speaker, pollution. Now, how could we be so cruel as to submerge so much of our land with everything in it just to supply cheap electricity, not even because we need it, but to supply to foreign companies, to industrialize them, and to help them to make money? Why can't we have our own state-owned plants as a model for us, as a first step to industrialization, and do it at our own pace, and industrialize at our own pace? Mr. Speaker, actually we are quite industrialized in our shipbuilding industries in Cebu, which is planned to become even more industrialized at Tanjung Manis, another growth node after the Samalaju growth node in Semenanjung. One of the five growth nodes of SCORE. The three others are Baram, Tuno, and Muka. Almost a decade has already passed, yet so little is happening to the Tanjung Manis industrial port city, Alahap, not to mention the other growth nodes of SCORE. Mr. Speaker, shipbuilding is already there in Cebu for a long time. The Cebu shipbuilders are selling ships all over the world. Government plan is just to expand at Tanjung Manis. In fact, quite a lot had already been done at Tanjung Manis. The industrial estate is there with the roads, and most of the basic amenities are also there. All we need now is to build ships there, but that's not happening. This does not augur well at all for the overall SCORE plan. The plan at Tanjung Manis must be stepped up and going. And if we can do it at Samalaju, why can't it be done at Tanjung Manis? Mr. Speaker, we all appreciate when we care and laugh, when care and laugh are shown to our neighbors and to each other, regardless of our race, religion, or creed. And when loving care is shown to those who are challenged, we are even more thankful. And all of a sudden we feel that this world, after all, is not so bad. There is still so much caring and loving people out there. The Bintulu Longevity Center, or better known as the Pepikat, is such a place. 240 children and young adults of all races who are challenged, whether physically or in their rationalizing ability. They have a place at the Pepikat Center which they can go to share, to learn, and to interact each day. We are grateful to those loving pioneers who had the vision, the government for the land and the funding by all for building the center, and also the committee of volunteers who put in so much time, so much of themselves to make sure that the Pepikat Center will be a center of excellence for the challenged. Today there are about 30 staffs at the center sharing their love and care with the challenged. They came from different backgrounds and are of different races, all coming with a big heart to share and to love the challenged children there. Of course, if we go by the ratio of the staff to the pupil, we need more staffs, whereas enough sharing and interacting is done between the staffs and the pupil. For so long, the government have been most kind in this aspect and have given yearly allocations for the center, which is surely one of the reasons also for the good works done there. And the center had also been prudent in their financial management, where every cent that is used is for the well-being and benefit of the pupils and the center. Mr. Speaker, I say that money spent there is well worth its value, as the center is becoming an icon and exemplify the heart of a loving government, a caring government, and we must keep this. We must keep and project a good image like this so that others can follow. I therefore ask that the government to continue on its good support and funding as before, if not more, to allow the challenge to strive for even higher grounds, where for them sky is the limit. Mr. Speaker, I think we all have experienced in one way or another poor services being rendered to the public. Roads are not repaired or repaired not well, grass not cut or not cut well, drains not clean or not cleaned well, rubbish not collected or not collected well, streets not swept or not swept well, floors not clean or not cleaned well, even toilets are not clean at times. The whole situation can become so bad that probably in some public premises, the officers themselves would have to come to mop the floor or clean toilets on their off days. Why? Because the contractor is no good or there is no contractor. Those are what we hear as answer these days, isn't it? So often one would call up a department and complain about a particular problem concerning the public, and the answer one could get is, I will inform the section in charge. And when the job is not done, a second or third call will get an answer like, there's really nothing that we can do, the contractor is not doing his job. And when the job is still not done, another call will get an answer like, there is no contractor to do the work. Yes, blame it on the contractor seems to be the norm answer these days. Whereas there is no denial that some contractors are to be blamed, but does the buck really stop at the government of the day? But doesn't the buck really have to stop at the government of the day? It should. But does it? No. It goes back to the contractor. It's all their fault, they say. Mr. Speaker, contractors are vetted and given a contract by the government and supervised by them. But why are they still given a job when the contractor cannot and does not perform, or perform anyhow? One could not help to think of vested interest maybe, or special interest, or maybe even corruption, which has allowed the work to be given back to those contractors who are not doing the job again and again, until the whole service surrendered to the public becomes poorer and poorer. I urge the government to look seriously into this matter for the good of all, so that the public does not have to suffer just because someone in charge and responsible is not doing the job. Mr. Speaker, about 30 homeowners of Taman Istiwaja and the nearby housing estate at Tanjung Batu, Bintulu had the most stressful 6 months of their lives and are still feeling that way when the concrete fence cracked and tilted. The concrete slab of the ground floor veranda sank by cracking up the tiles. Perimeter drain cracked and the apron outside the house opened up, where the four-legged snakes would roam. Not to mention what could be underneath the concrete slab of their houses now. It is suspected that even the sewage pipe under the floor are dislocated now, and we can imagine how bad that could be. Water pipes had dislocated before, and the homeowners have to pay over 100 ringgit for his monthly water bill in a house which is occupied by only 4 people. This is all too much a horror to the homeowners at Taman Istiwaja, of which 2 son-in-laws of mine are staying there also. This I wish to declare, Mr. Speaker. This had all come about because of the construction in May 2014 of the sewage treatment plant and associated sewer diversion on lot 8450 and 560, Block 31, Kamina Land District, which is just next to the Taman Istiwaja, about 50 meters away, where sheet piling were hammered into the ground and groundwater drawn down due to pumping as well as trench and manhole excavation. Mr. Speaker, this could not have happened. This should not have happened. Being the governing body in Bintulu, where all engineering plans and works are being approved and supervised by the Bintulu Development Authority, BDA has a duty to see that the works are carried out properly, safely, responsibly, and in compliance to the requirements before the commencement of work, and follow up after the commencement of work, so that the interests of the people, their properties, and their safety will be guarded at all times. After all, Bintulu Properties Sdn Bhd, a subsidiary of the Bintulu Development Authority, is also a client to the sewage treatment plant and associate sewer diversion work at the above-mentioned land lots. BDA cannot just be listening to what the contractors say or do, or what the developers say or do, by letting them have a field day doing the works at their whims and fancy where the people suffer. BDA must come out and listen to what the people say and see for themselves what, and if there are any problems that have come out as a result of the project. Empathize with them. Put yourself in their shoes, with the people of Taman Istiwaja, whose houses now are being damaged because of the project which BDA herself has approved, and BDA must take the lead now that the problem has come up and rectify the situation for the homeowners there, who probably have put in all their life savings to buy the house and now probably have to fork out more because of damage. And I urge that BDA call and conduct a meeting of all those involved so that the problem can be solved amicably, and that the homeowners at Taman Istiwaja be compensated and all damages be made good, like the damage that had never happened before. And what about the dirt and earth brought out from the construction sites onto the road, like at so many shops and housing development sites in Bintulu? This is not only dirty the BDA roads, but also the cars using the road during rainy days, and serious dust problem during sunny days, where dust fly and go into the house, like those housing development sites near the existing housing estates. Folks there cannot even open their windows, while the clothes which they hang outside to dry, white shirt they put out to dry in the morning, yellow shirt they collect in the evening. And Mr. Speaker, while we are at the Sibiu Road, a traffic light is so much needed at Tamangheng and Sibiu Road at this Sibiu Petronas Station Junction. Going in and out is becoming very dangerous at peak hours. Okay, the same thing with flooding. Housing development projects approved by BDA yet causing flood at so many areas in Bintulu. And what is BDA doing proactively? And at the end of the year, as the end of the year is coming up, when heavy rainfall is frequent, so what preparation had BDA done so far on drainage to ensure that there is no more flooding this year like what has happened last year? But in fact, last Saturday, after an hour of heavy rain, many areas were flooded again. In fact, last Saturday is after an hour's heavy rain. Yeah, many areas were flooded. Like I said earlier, BDA being the governing body in Bintulu, BDA must carry out the work diligently, fairly, and squarely for the interests of all the people in Bintulu, so that BDA can really live up to its name of. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank JKR for supplying treated water supply to Rumah Junit and Rumah Ganso at Sebatu, Suai. Though the pipes were connected about 2 years ago and the meters paid about a year ago, now eventually they have treated water supply to their longhouses. However, along the Bintulu Miri Road and Bintulu Tatau Sungai Arif Road, pipes along the roadside have been laid for years now and connected to the longhouses too, but no water coming. And I urge that treated water be supplied to these longhouses through these pipes immediately. That's all, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Any other members wish to speak?